guys? Travis Colt here, all by myself again. This doesn't happen very often. Just like we mentioned on Monday on the Raw review, Kevin Hawk is out of town currently. He's having a good time, so he is not joining me this week. And as usual, it is the midweek wrap-up, so now you know what video we're doing if you didn't know before. Thomas Wolf doesn't usually make it out for this video, so I'm doing it all by myself. But we do have some interesting things to talk about, so let's kick it off right away. We're going to talk about main event, starting it off. We open up with what, this is something that me and Kevin Hawk mentioned on last week's SmackDown Rundown, and then me and Thomas talked about it on Raw. The Ascension and Stardust are back together. The Cosmic Wasteland has not been done away with. That was exciting. Stardust had, he was doing his little star thing. He did it a little longer than he normally does, and it gave enough time for the Ascension to show up, and they're back together. This is good. Like, we were so worried that they were just going to kaput this storyline, and the fact that they aren't is super exciting. Stardust is taking on Fandango. This was a great back and forth match. A lot of counters, a lot of one-upsmanship. They started off with a swivel off. Stardust did his little thrust thing, and then Fandango was like, "Oh, I can swivel my hips," and Stardust was like, "Well, I can do it too," and so some ridiculousness starting the match off. But yeah, a great match back and forth. These are two guys you see every once in a while, and it's nice to see them get in the ring together because they have such good chemistry, and they've got similar wrestling styles where they're technically, they can be technical, but they can be fast-paced, they can do high-flying, all kinds of stuff. And it lent itself to the match. Plus, we had the Ascension on the outside, causing little bits of distraction for Fandango, which is perfect, allowing Stardust to get the momentum about midway through the match. Fandango is in control at the end, and as actually going up to hit the last dance. But it was kind of weird because the camera wasn't in the right view for this, but what it looked like is while he was going up, he looked down and he saw the Ascension there, and that kind of like took his eye off the ball for a second, and so he went to hit the last dance. Stardust moved, and this allowed Stardust to hit the disaster kick and then the Queen's crossbow and pick up the win over Fandango. Great match, good way to start it off. We then had a promo for the girls. Team Bella pretty much talking down the other teams, saying that Team Bad isn't really a team because everyone likes Sasha more, and that's what's going to tear them apart. And Team PCB or NBC or BCN, or they call them PMS, which I thought was funny. Good throwback to the Attitude Era. But just because they're dealing with so much, they don't even know if they are a team anymore. So it's really all about Team Bella, and that it's not the Divas Revolution, it's the Bella's Evolution. So that was a cool little thing. Let me go. This Adam Rose character is ridiculous. It's already just, I guess it's doing what it's supposed to. It's supposed to annoy me, and it's doing a great job. But he comes out and sings his name. That's all he does. He sings his name in different octaves from the top of the ramp all the way to the ring. Once he's in the ring, he tries doing it one more time. Then he ends up getting distracted. Well, he gets not distracted. He gets interrupted by Ryback. Ryback comes down, and I immediately assumed this is going to be just a squash match. But Adam Rose got some offense off, which is weird, but good, because it shows that Ryback doesn't need to rely on being a big, brooding monster. And, he can allow the other person to get some offense off and then still come back and pick up the win, which he did. There were a couple of clumsy spots. It looked like Adam Rose was trying to go maybe a little too fancy with things. He went off the top rope, and it was like supposed to be a crossbody, but not really a crossbody, and so it looked like it rung Ryback's bell a little bit. He landed really funny on it. But then he went for a really fancy sleeper hold, and it took Ryback down. But I think it's just Ryback fell because there was a lot of added movement from Rose. So Rose got him in the sleeper hold. Ryback powers out, gets up, hits the backpack stunner, gets up, hits the meat hook and the shell shock, and picks up the win over Adam Rose. Did you think it was going any other way? No, not really. But then we have our main event. It is Divas Tag Team action. Not 6-man, or not 6-woman, it's tag team. We got the Bellas on one side, and Team Bad is represented by Naomi and Tamina. A great match for the girls. I usually harp on the Bellas a lot, but they did a really good job. Well, I usually harp on Nikki specifically. But all of them did really good. You know, Naomi always looks really good. Brie got, she had a lot of control during this match, which was great. So she got to look really dominant. Nikki did great. You know, she did a couple spots where, you know, she got to show her dominance. You know, she's trying to prove that, oh, I'm the longest reigning Divas champion of all time. Well, now she's starting to prove that maybe she kind of deserves it, even though she's not champion. So yeah, she had a couple great spots. But my favorite part of this match was actually Tamina. Tamina is, you know, obviously she's the biggest of the team. She's one of the biggest divas on the roster, period. But she got to show, not only does she look strong, but she is strong. She got the hot tag from Naomi, got to run through both of the Bellas, and just looked really good doing it. She was able to use her power, her strength, her size. It was good. It really elevated her a little bit because she doesn't really get to have those standout moments very often. So her and Brie are the legal women in the ring, and we get, I don't remember exactly what it was that brought the other girls in, but Naomi tries to get in, and she gets knocked out by Nikki. Nikki turns around into a super kick from Tamina. This actually distracts Tamina enough to where Brie kicks her in the knee. She wears a brace that I don't think I've ever realized before. Maybe I have, maybe I'm just forgetting. But Brie kicks her in the knee with the brace, which takes her down. Brie hits the yes factor and picks up the win for Team Bella. So, yeah, great match from all the girls. A good showing for Tamina, which I think is something she really needed because she does, like I said, she doesn't get those standout moments very often. Now, I'm gonna talk about a few stories that we talked about. Me and Kevin Hawk talked about on Indie News. So if you want a little bit more information than what I'm going to give you now, go ahead and check that out. It'll be the last video in episode 69 in our playlist. First off, usually the middle of the midweek wrap-up is reserved for Lucha Underground. And we know it's coming back, and we found out just last week that they will start recording Season 2 on November 14th back in Boyle Heights. Everything, like the setting itself is staying the same. I don't know if they're going to be in a new building. You know, it's hard to tell. But just the fact that we know they're getting ready to record is awesome. I'm excited for it to come back. I'm excited to start talking about it again because it was my favorite thing since it started. It rivaled NXT, and you know nothing else can usually do that. So we also there was one of the producers actually did an interview, I think yesterday, a couple days ago, saying that they really, you know, they're really excited to do this because they have so many different storylines that they get to work with. You know, you've got Dario who took off. You don't know if he's coming back. You don't know what his role is going to be. You've got Katrina and Mil Muertes are going to be taking over the place now that Mil Muertes is the Lucha Underground champion after beating Prince Puma. You've got you know, you've got so many players that you can do a lot of interesting things now. And then he starts talking about the depth of the rosters. That people tend to say that they have too many Latin characters, and that's not really the case because yeah, obviously it's a branch off of AAA, you know, a Mexico promotion, but they have so many other characters that they can work with. You know, you've got Prince Puma, who's Ricochet. He's from Kentucky. You've got, you know, Cage. You've got Johnny Mundo. You've got, you know, big hulking black guys like Willie Mack and Zeke, Ezekiel Jackson. I can't remember. I'm blanking his Lucha Underground name right now. Big Rick. That's what it was. So there is a lot of depth to the roster. You've got Angelico, you've got Jack Evans, you've got Son of Havoc, you've got all these people. And speaking of depth, they want to start bringing in more female talent, which I think would be awesome considering the way women's wrestling is being portrayed right now. You know, Ivelisse was injured through most of Season 1, so she didn't really get to show off her talents. Lotus didn't wrestle. She was just kind of in this overarching storyline. So the only girl that really got to like show what she had was Sexy Star, and she was great. And she was able to really represent women in the company. But it would be nice to see her have more competition than just Evilise for a couple of matches. So yeah, lots of good things. I'm excited for it. The other big news that pertains to the midweek wrap-up that broke last week is that at the last NXT tapings, the night after TakeOver, James Storm of TNA fame, the Tennessee Cowboy, made his debut in NXT. So we'll be seeing his first match within the next couple weeks. If I'm not mistaken, it might even be next week. I think that'd be fantastic. I hope it's soon because I'm excited for it. This got me pumped because he's one of my favorite guys from TNA. I don't talk about TNA a lot because I don't like it, but I do like some of the guys that are there. And when I found out this news, I got super excited. It's someone who is established. It's like Samoa Joe, which their deals are kind of similar right now. But this name. They're coming in now, and they're in a whole new grouping of people. There's not a lot of guys on the roster that James Storm has wrestled on TV, so we're getting a whole new version of James Storm, and we're going to get to see him work with a lot of different people. Now, speaking of him and Joe, the comparison is they kind of have a similar deal, where James Storm hasn't actually signed a contract with WWE yet. Pretty much what's been offered is exactly what Joe got. He's got a deal that he can work the rest of his indie bookings, and then once all of his indie bookings are done for probably the rest of the year or however far out he's booked, then he would work for the company full time. TNA did try to sweeten the pot and bring him back, but it's all up to James Storm as to whether or not which deal he's going to take. Please sign him with WWE because it's going to be better for your career, and I'm excited to see you wrestle against all these awesome stars that are getting time to shine. And what's wrong with adding another big name to NXT? Nothing, because it's going to be awesome. And speaking of NXT, we're going to move right into it. This is fallout from last week's NXT Takeover Respect. We open up, Bayley comes out talking about how proud she is of the match. It was her and Sasha's dream since they were kids to get to the match that they were at last week, and they tore it down. The crowd is giving her so much respect, which they deserve because that match was phenomenal. If you haven't checked out NXT Takeover Respect, you are missing out because it was an amazing show. Bayley talks about how the future of the women's division was validated on that night, is that there's a lot of young girls that are ready to just kill it on the main roster and in NXT. And this brings out another stalwart from, that's kind of been around but hasn't really been in the title picture much, Alexa Bliss. She comes out, she's got Blake and Murphy with her, and she sounds very sincere the way she's talking. She's like, you know what, Bayley, I watched you and Sasha just kill it last week. You guys were awesome, and you're right. There's a bright future for women's wrestling, and she's excited to share that with her. And she raises her hand. It's like, yeah, give it up for Bayley. But then she swerves it and she takes the women's title from Bayley, and Blake and Murphy stand in front of her. And Alexa says, "But see, I'm not gonna share this with you because I am going to show you what it means to be a champion when I take this from you for real." She ends up tossing it back at Bayley, and so Bayley's left with this look like, okay, that was kind of rude, but it's Alexa Bliss. That's kind of what she does. So I personally am excited because the rumors I was hearing when Bayley won the title is that her next couple opponents were going to be Eva Marie and Dana Brooke, and I don't think either of those girls are ready to be in a title picture. Granted, I don't write NXT, but I have faith in Triple H and whoever else is on the writing team. So it's awesome to see that Alexa Bliss is going to be getting this title opportunity, start working the storyline with Bayley. It's only going to be good things for them. and we've got some more good Divas news later on in the show. But first up, we have a little backstage thing it was during TakeOver, after Finn Balor and Samoa Joe won the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They were approached by William Regal, who congratulated them for their win, and then Joe kind of goes on this like, hey, Finn, it's been awesome teaming with you during this tournament, but you know that I came to NXT for a reason, and that's that championship. And so I want a shot at it. And Finn's like, you know what? You've earned nothing but respect. And Joe talks about how he's undefeated in NXT. And so Balor says, you know what? You tell me when, and we'll have a match. And this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. It wasn't going to be animosity between the two of them. It's going to be purely competition because Joe wants to be champion, and so does Finn. And they were going to be, they're going to be civil about it and just competitive. Exactly what I thought it was going to be. I think I called it a couple weeks ago on NXT. I think it was the predictions for TakeOver. But William Regal actually says, well, see, Joe, that's not how it's going to work, because next week, what we're talking about is this week's NXT, there's going to be a Battle Royal to determine who the #1 contender is. Because we've lost track. We've been dealing with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, that we don't know who the #1 contender is. And just like the Tag Team Classic, everyone deserves a shot. And Joe tries to really fight for a side, and William Regal is like, you know what? I understand. You're right. You do deserve it, but there are other people that deserve it as well. So we're gonna have a Battle Royal, and the winner will face Finn Balor, probably at the next TakeOver. So it kind of pisses Joe off a little bit, but I mean, deep down he probably understands. And now Finn is kind of sitting there going, okay, now there's a good chance, there's a great landscape of guys that I could end up facing for my title. And we had people that were going to be in the Battle Royal kind of speak their mind. We had Ty Dillinger, we had Apollo Crews, Tyler Breeze, Baron Corbin, and Rhino. There are just a few names. There's 20 guys in this Battle Royal. So lots of names, lots of faces, and we'll have to wait and see who ends up taking the win. We had a really quick tag team match. The tag team champions, the Vaudevillains, taking on Sawyer Fulton and Angelo Dawkins. Dawkins and Fulton have a new look going on. They don't have the blue and gray singlets anymore. They kind of have like their own individual look. Sawyer Fulton's got this weird like skunk looking mohawk thing that's like black with like a blonde stripe in the middle. That looks really fucking goofy. And I think you can pick that as a hairstyle on some of the video games. But they did show a lot of physicality in this. They ran the match pretty much over Aiden English. Aiden English was taking a lot of the beat down, ended up getting the hot tag to Simon Gotch. Then it was a pretty quick end at this point. Gotch really ran the gauntlet, tagged Aiden English back in. They hit the Whirling Dervish on Angelo Dawkins and picked up the win. But I like the fact that Dawkins and Fulton are kind of now, they're officially a tag team, and we're going to start seeing them more because we're getting a big influx of tag teams with Jordan and Gable and all the different people that ended up being in the Tag Team Classic. So Fulton and Dawkins are going to be a force to be reckoned with because they are very big, they're very good at what they do, and I appreciate their physicality. And speaking of tag teams that are kind of being influxed now, there was a backstage interview with Dash and Dawson, aka the Mechanics, and Devin asking, what do you think about, what do you think about the Vaudevillains win, or are you impressed? And Dash and Dawson are like, yeah, I mean, no, we're not. We're not impressed because if you remember, during the Tag Team Classic, we actually beat the Vaudevillains. We actually took them out of the tournament. We made it to the semifinals. So technically, because they beat the Vaudevillains, they should actually be the #1 contenders. They actually said that they deserve to be holding the tag team titles anyway. And apparently, this wasn't very clear to me. If it was clear to you, post it in the comments. But apparently, they're going to end up facing Enzo and Cass, possibly next week. I don't know. They started talking about facing Enzo and Cass instead of the Vaudevillains. Maybe that's going to be a #1 contendership. I don't know. But yeah, a good promo from Dash and Dawson, really solidifying the fact that they want a shot at the tag team titles, and I think that's what's going to be a major factor going against the Vaudevillains. Not only them, but with Jordan and Gable, and possibly another run for Enzo and Cass, eventually getting a shot at the tag team titles as well. There was another little funny thing of, during, it was in the trainer's room during NXT Takeover. Dana Brooke got hit so hard and beat up so bad by Asuka that she actually thought she beat Asuka. And like her and Emma are in the back, they're in the training room, and Emma's like checking on her. She's like, where's Asuka? I beat Asuka, right? And then Asuka actually comes in and like taps taps Dana on the head and scares the shit out of Emma. And then she walks away, and Dana's like, oh, was that Asuka? But I beat her. And she's like calling for Asuka. It was hilarious. I just think it's funny because Dana Brooke got her ass kicked. But yeah, so yeah, some funny little things there. I think probably next week or maybe the week after, we're probably going to get Asuka versus Emma. And that should be an interesting match. I'm really interested to see how that goes. Speaking of the Divas, we had the debut of not only Nia Jax, but also her opponent, Evie. I don't know who Evie is. I'll have to confirm who that is, possibly talk to Kevin Hawk next week during the midweek wrap-up. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, Evie, cute little brunette from New Zealand, getting more girls from down under, the Australians and New Zealanders coming in here. But she is significantly smaller than Nia Jax. Nia Jax is huge. She is like the Samoan version of Karma, of Awesome Kong, whatever you want to call her. Both of these girls are very impressive, though. They didn't have to do much because obviously they were going to put over Nia Jax and her size. And Nia Jax uses her size very well. She uses exactly what she has. She's got big vicious elbows that she does. She actually like hip checked Evie in the face. Yeah, she was using all kinds of, she was catching Evie out of moves, but Evie is very, very athletic. She's very good at, obviously she was just kind of there to be fodder, but she did a good job. She got some good shots. She got some good kicks in. So I'm excited to see more from both of these girls. Nia Jax ended up hitting. It was she caught her like rock bottom style, and ultimately hit her with the like a spine buster kind of move. That was her finish. Yeah, I am totally digging this. I think this is great. The fact that we're getting another influx of great female talent. This is awesome. We're just building off of what is already great about NXT, and I'm excited for more. But then we had Eva Marie. She said hi from Paris, and really? I mean, I guess it's a good way to get heel points, but okay. Hi, Eva. There, Tony. I talked about Eva. You happy? Alright. Now, we're going to move on to our main event, which is the Battle Royal for the #1 contender spot to face Finn Balor at a later date, more than likely the next NXT Takeover. And we have the following participants. There's one guy, I don't know who he is. I think his last name is Moth? I don't know. Something. He was wearing little gold tights. I don't know what he is. But he was the only one that I couldn't figure out his name. But we also have Tommaso Ciampa. We have Johnny Gargano, Elias Sampson, Big Cass, Enzo, Ty Dillinger, Dash, Dawson, Bull Dempsey, Danny Burch, Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley, Blake, Murphy, Rhino, Tyler Breeze, Samoa Joe, Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, and Steve Cutler. Lots of names. There's quite a few people that you could actually see walking away with this spot. Obviously, Joe is a top runner for it because he wants the shot. Baron Corbin and Rhino are two of the biggest heels in there. You got the new sensation Apollo Crews coming in. You've got some really big Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze has been around since NXT blew up. There's a lot of people that could get this spot. So we immediately, as soon as the bell rang, Corbin, Rhino, and the Mechanics all tried to eliminate Joe. Were unsuccessful with it, though, because Joe ended up making it to the Final Four. But here's a little list of the eliminations. Steve Cutler got clotheslined over the top by Apollo Crews. Then Danny Burch got thrown over the top by Apollo Crews. And then Elias Sampson got thrown over the top by Apollo Crews. And then Johnny Gargano got caught and tossed over the top rope by Apollo Crews. And that kind of got Apollo some heat because people were really behind Johnny Gargano, and they have been since he started. Me, Thomas, and Kevin Hawk are all big fans of Johnny Gargano. Obviously, he wasn't going to be getting the shot right off the bat. It would have been great to see him or Ciampa, spoiler alert, Ciampa doesn't win either, to see either of them kind of get to that spot. But I like that they're being given the chance to work their way through NXT first and not being like, hey, we're going to give you a title shot right away. They're giving them spots to really work to the WWE style, and they're doing a great job. We had a commercial break there. No eliminations during the commercial break, which is good. We then had the guy that I can't remember, Mott, whatever. If you know his name, post it in the comments, or I'll put it at the bottom of the screen if I figure it out. The guy I can't remember was booted over the top by Big Cass. Big Cass was then eliminated by both of the Mechanics, and then Enzo eliminated both of the Mechanics. But then Enzo was quickly eliminated by Ty Dillinger. So yeah, it was a good little succession there, and I think that might build for the tag team feud that I was just talking about. So that'll probably lead into their match that they're having coming up soon, and possibly maybe we're gonna get another like fatal 4-way for the tag titles or something. That'd be fun to see. Ty Dillinger was eliminated by Bolt Dempsey. Immediately after, Bolt Dempsey was eliminated by Rhino. Then we had 3 consecutive eliminations for Baron Corbin. He eliminated Mojo Rawley, so he's probably Kevin Hawk's new favorite wrestler. He then eliminated Zack Ryder, which means he's now Thomas Wolfe's least favorite wrestler. But then he turned on his partner and eliminated Rhino. He was like saving Rhino. Rhino saved him, and then he just turned around and eliminated Rhino. Baron Corbin doesn't give a fuck. So, go Corbin. We had another commercial break where we missed the elimination of Tommaso Ciampa by Samoa Joe. That probably got Joe a little bit more heat. Because at this point, people want Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze is the one everyone keeps chanting for. They don't want Samoa Joe, probably because he's eliminating all these guys that they really like. And then Blake and Murphy got eliminated by Samoa Joe. So now we're down to our final 4. We have Tyler Breeze, Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin, and Apollo Crews. You can kind of see where this is going now. Breeze tries to go after Joe. I don't know. Maybe he was cocky. I don't know what it was. But he decided that was a good idea. It was not, because he would get blasted by just strike after strike after strike. Got hit with the ST Joe, and ultimately got tossed over the top rope and eliminated by Samoa Joe. And the crowd is so mad. The crowd is unbelievably mad at this point. Corbin then fights off Joe, tosses him over the top rope. Joe saves himself, only to get pulled off of the apron by Tyler Breeze. And the crowd starts thanking Tyler Breeze. And I'm like, the fans really don't like Joe right now. I'm like, maybe it was because of who he eliminated, or maybe there's just like this underlying heat with Samoa Joe. I don't know for sure. But yeah, they were very vocal about it. And at this point, you've got Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. And the crowd is firmly behind Apollo Crews. They have this big battle for power. They're doing big. They both pick each other up and drive each other across the ring. Just some big strikes back and forth. Apollo kind of makes a comeback after getting hit with the choke bomb by Baron Corbin, and he's working it. He's trying to make the comeback, and Crews ends up going on this flurry, hits 3 enziguris in a row, and then clotheslines Baron Corbin over the top. Apollo Crews is the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. I was blown away. Like, I was so sure. And here's the thing. Because it's NXT, I should have realized, oh, well, there is a good chance that someone else could win. I kind of thought it had to be a heel. But then I was like, well, no, Samoa Joe is kind of like there, so he should get it. But then, what about these other guys? It was actually hard to tell. And when Apollo Crews eliminated Baron Corbin and won, I jumped up and was like, fuck yeah! They're giving this new guy who's only been around for about a month, they're like, you're the guy. We're going to put you in the title picture. And now, granted, there's a good chance that we could see it, like, change into a triple threat, or we could see it change into, some sort of, maybe I don't know. It's NXT. Anything is possible. But as of right now, our future title match is Finn Balor defending the NXT Championship against Apollo Crews. This is so exciting. I was so pumped. James Storm is coming in. Nia Jax is awesome. There are so many good things happening in NXT, and it is so much fun to watch. I'm more and more excited every week. I wish I had someone else here to talk to about it, but hopefully this role that NXT is on continues next week. I can talk to Kevin Hawk. Maybe Thomas Wolfe will show up. I don't know. But as of right now, thank you for watching. I'm doing this all by myself. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the people that have been liking and sharing and reblogging the videos on Tumblr. You can like, favorite, subscribe. Please pass us along. Let your friends know. Subscribe so we can really show that you guys are enjoying the videos. If you have any comments about the videos, you can click any of the links down in the description: the Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Reddit, or the emails. You can get a hold of us. You can talk to all of us at fanstalkwrestling@gmail.com or on our Facebook or Tumblr. You can get all of us at our Twitter addresses. Mine is actually at the bottom of the screen right now. All of ours are usually at the bottom of the screen when we're doing videos. And then there's also the emails, fanstalkwrestling@gmail.com. You can talk to all of us. And if you want to talk to Kevin Hawk, hell, send him an email now and see how his vacation's going. You can catch him at Kevin_Hawk636@hotmail.com. And down in those comments, let us know what you like about the videos. What did you think about NXT? What did you think about main event? What do you think about the comeback of Lucha Underground? What do you think about James Storm showing up in NXT? There's so much to talk about. Let's talk wrestling. Thanks for watching. Check out that playlist. We got a Raw review. We got this midweek wrap-up. Up next is a SmackDown rundown, and then we'll have some indie news coming up this Monday. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you, or I'll see you, at whatever video you decide to watch next.